Hey, how's it going? I'm Zack, and I don't make YouTube videos often at all. I've only made one related to Star Wars like this, so I don't have a fancy background or anything. I've just in my backyard on my deck against my house, but that's not what this is about. It's about fan theory that I have, and a couple of fan theories that I have. I do a lot of debating when I'm off work, the day job and the business, so that's where I am right now. And this is what I I want to try to do. So I love Star Wars. Have a very passionate, lifelong love for it. It's something that I think about every day. I have for as long as I can remember, and I know that non-fans and even casual fans, to them, this sounds kind of weird to them. I mean, it sounds weird to me when people say the same thing about stuff like sports, things like that. I know I'm in the minority, but uh, it is something that I'm used to. Look at me. But the subject of Star Wars, my greatest frustration is not with the movies, the novels, the comics, the games, or anything like that. My biggest gripe is with Star Wars fans. That's right. I'm always happy about making good fun of Star Wars and the way it's done with parody, fan films, and that kind of thing. But what I don't understand, however, is the lack of common sense and imagination that so called fans tend to have. They're often more willing to put their time into hating certain aspects of Star Wars rather than opening their minds and embracing it. And, just anything they have to think about for a moment or two, they get upset. If they see something that on the surface doesn't jive with them right away, they immediately call it garbage and proclaim that it's not Star Wars to them. The purists will never accept anything beyond Star Wars and Empire, and in many cases Jedi, to be part of their headcanon Star Wars universe. And that's their right, but their negativity and their unwillingness to explore more of this vastly epic mythology is saddening. They're missing out on so much fun. When people see something that doesn't fit in with their expectations or what they hoped for, or that involves them thinking about it for more than a few seconds, like I said before, they throw their hands up and decide it sucks. But let's face it, if you look at the Star Wars Wikia page, Wikipedia, you'll see that the lore has become filled with more information in canon and legends than some of the mythologies that have existed for thousands of years, for millennia. If everything about Star Wars and every movie or story was spoon fed to us in the movies, as some fans seem to expect, each film would have to be somewhere between 5 hours and 5 days long at least. So, what I've come up with is a couple of fan theories that I think, along with many other people, will explain some of the issues that people have with the movies. I have a few of them, quite a few of them, but I'm going to share a couple of them with you. Uh, just try to keep an open mind. I'll share a couple with you right now. For the first one, I'm sorry, it's kind of windy out here. I came up with this several years ago, and I've shared it on some social media outlets. It's blown a few minds with it. No one's been able to use a canon source material at all to out it or disprove it in any way. I don't think it was George Lucas's original intent, but if the universe were real, this explanation would suffice, I think. So, in A New Hope, sorry, purists, that is what it is called now, especially since the prequels, many people have wondered why on Tatooine, Obi-Wan, Owen, and Beru would have kept Luke's last name Skywalker. Wouldn't that be dangerous? Vader and the Emperor could easily find him living with his step-uncle on a farm where he was at when he found out about the near and eventual demise of his mother. Well, there are several reasons people have given that explain that this is no concern. The official story as to what happened to Padme would easily and clearly have been that her died along with her in childbirth. Now remember, Anakin never sensed that she had twins in her womb or the sex of his child. Yoda would have certainly made sure that the surviving twins would the information about that, I should say, that she had twins that had survived, never would have left where they were born. I mean, that wouldn't have gotten out of there. He would definitely want the official story to be that her baby died in childbirth with her. Now, Vader would have had no interest in going back to the place, to the planet that reminded him of his mother. He wouldn't want to set foot on the planet again. And for you prequel bashers, he hated sand, remember? Oh, and there's also the thing about the possibility that Skywalker might not have been the least common name in the galaxy. Some were worried that reports of somebody by the name of Skywalker living on Tatooine would spark the interest of the Emperor. Now, I don't really think this would have been an issue. The official word on the Emperor's side about Anakin Skywalker would have been that he died in the Jedi Purge. I mean, remember, virtually nobody knows that Vader is Anakin. Even Tarkin took a while to piece all that together. So, even if Skywalker were not a common name, no one was looking for any offspring or relatives of Anakin. There would have been no reason. So what more could be added to this? Well, it has more to do with the last thing, the Skywalker name. In addition to that stuff I mentioned, just in case this could have come up as a possible worry, I have another answer. What if Luke did not grow up with the name Luke Skywalker? What if Luke was known to his friends and aunt and uncle as Luke Lars? How is that possible, you ask? No way, you say. Well, just think about this. In fact, do more than think about it. Go back and watch the first hour and I think 16 minutes or so of A New Hope. Listen to every time Luke is addressed and how he is addressed. He is referred to by name only as Luke until a specific point in the film. No last name is given. The first time that you hear the name Skywalker uttered is when he's on the Death Star rescuing Leia, and that's him introducing himself to her as Luke Skywalker. He says, "I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you," right? Before that, you don't hear the Skywalker name. Why does this matter? Well, just imagine for a moment that Luke is Luke Lars, or some other last name, most likely Lars. He meets the droids. R2 is on a secret mission, which we'll get into more in a bit. After they find Obi-Wan, there could be some conversations between Luke and Obi-Wan, as well as between Obi-Wan and R2, which again we'll get to later, that obviously we don't get to see. This is the nature of movies. There are scenes that would have to happen outside of the audience's view, and our job is to use common sense and imagination to fill in those blanks. There's just simply not enough time in 2+ hours to fill out all those blanks for you. We get to see Obi-Wan starts to tell Luke about his point of view story of Luke's father. He never mentions the name Anakin, or his last name for that matter. He doesn't mention that there. In fact, I don't think the name Anakin is mentioned until, is it Empire or Jedi? I'm drawing a blank now. But honestly, we don't even know if Luke was ever told by Owen or Beru his father's real first or last name at this point. I mean, he could have been given a totally different name. It's not likely, but that's possible. And it's a bit beside the point because it doesn't really matter for this, but it is another interesting thought because clearly Owen lied to Luke about his father just as Obi-Wan later did. Then, Owen and Beru are murdered by stormtroopers, so then Luke decides that he wants to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like his father. So, on the way to Mos Eisley, or even later on the Falcon, before we get to see Luke, that Mary Sue blocking blaster bolts blindfolded, or with the blaster shield, with very minimal Jedi and Force training. Sorry, that was for the Force Awakens haters. There would have been plenty of time for conversation like this. So Luke says, "Obi-Wan, Ben, or whatever your name is, tell me more about my father. I'm still mind blown by the fact that he fought in the Clone Wars and was a Jedi." So then Obi-Wan says, "Well, Luke, Anakin Skywalker was not only the best pilot in the galaxy, he was also a fantastic swordsman. He was also very powerful with the Force. Some believed he was the most powerful Jedi to ever exist. You'll find out all the bad stuff about him later in time. Well, let's do some saber training right now before we arrive at Alderaan. Something like that. So then Luke Lars says, wow, that's fascinating, Obi-Wan. I had no idea. I can't believe Owen lied to me all these years about my father. I'm glad you're finally here to tell me the truth. And then Obi-Wan, of course, says, well, Luke, I understand their intentions. They did it to protect you. Sometimes that's necessary. Fabrication for protection isn't really a bad thing. It helped you. It helped. Words to that effect. So then Luke says, well, I understand. But with all this information, I've just made a decision. My family is gone, and I feel that it would only be right for me to show respect to my father, who died defending the galaxy from the Emperor's tyranny. From now on, I will only answer to the name Luke Skywalker. Then, just a little while later on the Death Star, he introduces himself to Leia for the first time in his life as Luke Skywalker. That's that one. Now, what was all that stuff earlier about Obi-Wan having secret conversations with R2? Well, at the beginning of A New Hope, R2 tells loudmouth C-3PO that he's on a secret mission, and he doesn't tell him anything else about it except for the fact that he needs to find Obi-Wan Kenobi. Right? So, let's think about this. C-3PO has no clue what he's talking about because his memory's been wiped at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Now, R2's could have been wiped at any time in that 19 years between Sith and A New Hope, but let's assume it wasn't. So, the question comes up often about why don't R2 and Obi-Wan remember each other? Well, they may have. R2 very well may have remembered Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan would not have shown any recognition to R2 because he did not want to get into explaining details, leading to details of the bad parts of Anakin's life and personality. He didn't want Luke to know anything about Anakin's personality yet. Furthermore, he would have instructed R2 most likely during the time that Luke goes home to find Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru dead, not to ever tell Luke anything about the past, and to leave it up to him, and down the road, Master Yoda, to tell and test Luke. This is why in Empire, Yoda was acting crazy, and R2 was playing along and pretending to bicker and fight with Yoda. R2 was following orders from Obi-Wan to act this way. Remember, it is well established through the entire saga that R2 is an extraordinarily unusually intelligent astromech droid. He would have been able to follow orders like that easily. Does this sound like a stretch to you? Well, I don't think it's any more of a stretch than the problems people try so hard to find with Star Wars in order to fuel their hate for it, yet still call themselves fans. That's my take.